Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to the last video of 2020. I'm going to be doing my top 10 movies of 2020.
Everybody's a suspect!
Coming to get you, Bobber.
Now this is going to be probably my most bizarre top 10 movies of a year, of any year, and the reason being is I haven't seen that many movies of 2020, and again there was quite a lot that still came out, but most of the movies that I was looking forward to have been delayed until further notice, at least 2021. So movies like Fast and Furious, Halloween Kills, big movies that were supposed to come out this year may have made it in the top 10, maybe not, but the fact of the matter is, I haven't seen a lot of movies this year, so the top 10 that I'm about to tell you is full of movies that some are good, but some are not that great. And in fact, down the bottom half, you might think, why would you put them in your top 10? Honestly guys, I probably wouldn't, but out of all the movies that I've seen this year, this is the best of a bad bunch. Now, I've only seen 21 movies this year. I just saw Wonder Woman 1984. Which doesn't make the list. I've seen 21 movies this year. That's probably the lowest amount of new movies that I've seen in a year. So that's why this list is going to look a little bit weird. And at number 10 is HUBIE Halloween. Now again, this is a silly movie, but for some reason I enjoyed it. And I think I enjoyed it more because I had my kids with me. If I watched this as an adult and taken this movie seriously as an Adam Sandler film, I probably wouldn't like it. But I do like the Halloween theme in the film. I know that Adam Sandler loves Halloween. So when he wants to make a movie set on Halloween, he really goes for it. And that's what this movie has going for it. It has that Halloween charm to it. Yes, the storyline is batshit crazy. The dialogue is terrible and the acting's almost unbearable. But when you mix that in with the Adam Sandler charm and that Halloween effect that it has on you when you watch it around Halloween with your family, it is an enjoyable film at the end of the day. And at number 9 is BORAT 2. I'm not going to mention the whole title because I can't remember it. But BORAT 2 is one of the movies that it didn't disappoint me because I still really liked it. But it was nowhere near as good or as shocking as the first movie. Yes, there was a shocking scene at the very end of BORAT 2, and I'm sure for those of you who have seen BORAT 2, after the movie, you went straight online and you were searching for what happened at the very end. So it has the shock factor. One thing that did surprise me, and I'm sure it all surprised you as well, is his daughter, the girl that played his daughter in it. She was incredible. Now, she was probably the best part of this film, and I think that's maybe what took the shine off of Sacha Baron Cohen's performance, because he was good. He was good as Borat as usual, but we've seen Borat before, so if anyone sees him in the street, they know he's having a laugh. But you bring that girl into a Borat situation, we don't know who she is, but she was so believable as who she was playing. I think she was great. She stole the show for me, and for that reason alone, that's why this movie makes the top 10. And at number 8 is Greenland. Now this is probably the film on this list that is probably the most surprising movie of 2020. I enjoyed this more than I thought I even would have. Now I know that Gerard Butler does make a few stinkers in his career, and he's made a few stinkers recently. And then when I saw the trailer for Greenland, probably about a year ago, I thought, this looks good, but it looks like your run-of-the-mill, cheesy, end-of-the-world movie. And it wasn't that. It wasn't that at all. I was very surprised by it because when I watched it, yes, we had those end-of-the-world moments, which you have to have in a disaster film, but it also had a humanity aspect to it because I wasn't expecting that. We've got a movie here it's a disaster movie, but inside this disaster movie is how we would react to this sort of thing that would happen. And I think a lot of the things that happened in this was very realistic, something that probably something that I wouldn't do personally, but there's things in it that I've seen people do in real life for things a lot less than a disaster or an end of the world event. So when I was watching it, I thought, wow, this is very gritty and very realistic. I actually forgot about the disaster part throughout most of the film until it got near the end. Overall, it was very cheesy, but at the same time, it was quite gritty. And the performance by Monica Baccarin, she was great. See when she lost her kid halfway through the film, the fear in her face. I know she's just acting, but if there's going to be Oscars this year, there's not going to be a lot of Oscar nominations, but if there is an Oscar nomination for Best Actress, she should be in there. And at number 7 is Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga. Now I never thought I would say this, but there's a Will Ferrell movie that's supposed to be bad, and cheesy that's in my top 10 of the year. And to be honest, if I did see a lot more movies this year, this might still have made the top 10. I really enjoyed this film, and I didn't think I would enjoy it at all, because when I watched the trailer put me off. I thought, well, this looks terrible. But I thought, I'll give it a chance, because the Eurovision didn't happen this year. I watched the Eurovision, guys. I don't love it. I watch it for a laugh. But when I watched this, I thought, whoa, this is really good. It's less funny and more emotional, and the soundtrack for this film is great. Most of the songs are original. There is a few cover songs, but there was some songs in this. What's it called again? The Finish song, the actual main song that she sang at the end. I'm not even going to butcher it, but she sang a song at the end, and I was in tears. It was great. The girl that sings the song is incredible, and the performance by Rachel McAdams when she was performing the song, I actually felt like she was singing it. If they're going back to the Academy Awards this year, that should be nominated for Best Original Song, and I would think that it would win Best Original Song. So you've got a Will Ferrell movie in 2020 that could potentially win an Oscar. And at number 6 is Sonic the Hedgehog. Now this is a fun one. This is one I saw near the start of the year. I think it was February it came out. It was a fun movie. There was a few flaws because I loved Sonic the Hedgehog growing up. I had Sonic the Hedgehog for the Master System, and I had it for the Mega Drive. You guys in America would probably call it the Sega Genesis. We called it the Sega Mega Drive and the Sega Master System. And it brought back some of the memories from when I played the game. Now there are a few stinking there are a few stinking video game movies out there, like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, Super Mario Brothers, and they just never seem to get it right. Now I know that the Sonic the Hedgehog movie is not perfect, but what they did have is great casting. Not only did they have great casting for Sonic, the voice of Sonic, and Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik, but they had cast members that aren't part of the game, but they felt like they should have been part of the game when they came out, and that's great, and it's really hard to do. So when it comes to a video game movie, this is one of the best, and I'm looking forward to seeing the sequel if it does come out. I know that Tails is going to be in it, and we've got rumours of Knuckles going to be in it as well. So I'm really looking forward to it if they do make it. And at number 5 is Extraction. Now, it was hard to determine this one on the list because on one hand, we see a movie with a plot that we see time and time again, and if I'm being honest, the plot was quite boring. I like the fact that he was protecting this boy, and that's good. That's a good plot, but something that we've seen before. But where they were situated and the things that were happening to them throughout the film was something that we saw time and time again. But what I did like about it was the acting in it, of course, by Chris Hemsworth, but also I loved the fight sequences, the choreography in this film, and the camera work is what I loved about this more. The camera work and the choreography were fantastic all the way through the movie. Now I don't actually remember a dull moment, although some of the movie felt a little bit slow at times. Most of the film had a lot of action, and it had a lot of those quick fire moments where you had the gun, and it felt like a game at times when you're playing Call of Duty or anything, something like that. The way the camera was moving around with Chris Hemsworth and the way the camera work moved, it was great. So I think I was engrossed because of the camera work and the action sequences. Overall, it wasn't a great movie, but it wasn't a bad movie either. But I think it's bumped high up the list because A, it's not a great year, and B, it wins it on that choreography alone. And at number 4 is Unhinged. Now this is a movie that just shouldn't be good, and for some people this movie's bad, but for me I thought it was great. And I don't think it was bad in a great way, and I don't think it was great in a bad way. This is just a great movie. Now Russell Crowe doesn't look like the Russell Crowe that we all know from before, like in Gladiator, but he uses his weight gain to his advantage. He genuinely felt like this horrible, seedy guy who you just wouldn't mess with. And in this film, you just wouldn't mess with him. I had an adrenaline rush from start to finish. This was a great movie. If we look at 2020 as having movies that are mediocre, this isn't one of them. This is a great movie for me. Again, I know some people won't like it, but for me, it was fantastic. And again, it's got that storyline where you've seen before, but it has a little bit of a twist in it as well, because he's doing things in this film that you think, okay, he's not going to be able to do that. Or he's just not going to do it because he's maybe got a bit of humanity in him. No, not this guy. He manages to do things that we didn't expect him to do, and he sees it through. And he sees it through to the very end as well. He doesn't care who can see him. He doesn't care who's after him. he knows that he's got a mission now, and he's going to try and see that through regardless of who gets in the way. And I think that's what makes this movie scary. I didn't put it on my horror list because it wasn't really a horror movie, and I don't want to cheat. It's not a horror movie, but this was a thrilling action movie that I would watch time and time again. And at number 3 is Bad Boys for Life. Now again, this is one of the movies that I last seen in February or so, and I haven't seen it since. But I use Letterboxd for my top 10 movies, and it's always up there. And then when I watch a movie and I think, right, okay, is it better than Bad Boys for Life? I kind of say yes sometimes, and I say no, and then I move it around. So Bad Boys is one of the ones that's definitely the top 5, but it just didn't quite make the top 2, for example. But it was really good. Again, it's one of these movies that I was looking forward to seeing. That when was Bad Boys 2 out? 2003. So we had Bad Boys 2, 2003, and then we had to wait 17 years for this. For the 17-year wait, it's not worth it, because I waited 17 years to see a Bad Boys movie. But at the same time, when I watched all 3 back to back, all 3 for me are similar in quality. I know that some people love Bad Boys 1 more than 2 and vice versa, but for me, I don't have a favourite. I think they're all equal to each other. They're not perfect movies, but they're not bad movies, but they're not terrible, not bad or terrible movies. I think they were really good, and I think Bad Boys for Life, if I watch it again, it might come down the list a bit more, because when I think about it, I enjoyed Unhinged more. But at the same time, Bad Boys for Life was a better made movie. And if I'm going by critical and technical aspects, Bad Boys for Life just edges Unhinged. And at number 2 is Freaky. Now this was number 2 on my horror top 5, so you can probably guess what number 1 is. But we'll quickly talk about Freaky again. What I haven't said about it already, it was a quirky movie in the vein of Halloween 2018 and Happy Death Day. I always wanted to see a Happy Death Day 3, which I think we're still getting, but with that delay, or instead of Happy Death Day 3, the makers of Happy Death Day gave us Freaky, and I was so overwhelmed by this because it was great. Great performance by Vince Vaughn, great performance by everyone in fact. It was very funny. I know that some people thought it looks like it was going to be a little PC. I didn't see any PC aspects in it at all, which was great. It kept the outside world to the outside, and it made us engrossed in a movie and forget about what's happening on the outside, especially with 2020. But it just made me have a lot of fun with the film. There were some scary moments as well, but overall I had a lot of fun with it, and I hope and I pray that they do a Freaky 2. If you haven't already guessed it, guys, number 1 is The Invisible Man. I think The Invisible Man is probably head and shoulders above every film that I've seen this year. It's not even close. I know that I love Freaky, but The Invisible Man is a great movie. Not only is it a great horror movie, it's a great movie. It's suspenseful, it's horrific, the acting in it is great, the set design is great, the choreography, there's not much choreography, just the way, the mood and the atmosphere of this film is great. When I think back, you don't see a lot of scenes during the day. We get some night shots in restaurants, etc., but you don't get a lot of day shots, and when you do get the day shots, they're kind of zoomed out a little bit. But overall, it was set in the dark, which is good because it's about this guy who's invisible, but the only way to make yourself invisible is to creep around in the dark, like we saw at the beginning of the film. But I've done a review for it. I've told you about it in my top 5 horror movies, so I don't want to really repeat myself, other than say that this is head and shoulders above every movie of 2020. The Invisible Man is the best. As I mentioned, guys, I've only seen 21 movies of the year, and just to give you an extra special treat, I'm not going to review or tell you about these movies, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to list off the movies in this order, because I know you're probably thinking, what about Tenet? I haven't seen Tenet, so that's not going to be on the list. So I've only seen 21 movies, and that's why this list looks weird, but I'll give you a quick rundown. I'm not going to mention why, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown. In at number 21 is Castle Freak, awful. In at number 20 is Doolittle with Robert Downey Jr. In at number 19 is The Wrong Missy. That was a Netflix film with David Spade. In at number 18 is Wonder Woman 1984. That's not controversial because most people hate it. After that, we've got Host, which was okay. After that, we've got Project Power, which was quite boring. Then we've got The Rental, which was in my top 5 horror movies of 2020. After that, we've got The Witches remake. It was okay, but a little bit cheesy. After that, we've got The Babysitter Killer Queen. After that, we've got Bill and Ted Face the Music. I wasn't disappointed in that, but it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. That was in at number 12, so it just missed out in the top 10. And then in at number 11 that just missed out was The Hunt. And that's every movie that I've seen this year, guys, so I've not seen a lot. So if you're thinking, why is this movie not on the list? Why is this movie not on the list? Chances are I've just not seen it. What I'd like to know from you guys is, what is your top 10 movies of the year? I think this is going to be the year that most people have a different top 10, because some of us haven't went to the cinema, some of us have, some of us have seen good movies, some of us haven't. But leave your comments down below and let me know your top 10 of the year. Like I mentioned guys, this is going to be the last video of 2020. It might even come out January the 1st depending on when I release this video, but this is the very last video that I've shot in 2020. So I hope you all have a happy new year, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.